Catherine.
Nope.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hardworking Happy Hour. I'm Sean.
And I'm Catherine, and as always, we'll be breaking down all things trades, entrepreneurship, and turning your creativity into a passion career. Okay, now you can start talking.
Catherine, what's happening? How we doing?
I know, you forgot how this works. It's fine. I'm good.
I know. I said, hey, Catherine, before you played the intro music, and now here we are. I am so embarrassed. My God.
This is the 147th episode of this podcast, so I hope that one day you remember how it works.
That's something I can shoot for. That's a goal I can put on my vision board.
I'm just razzing you. You're doing great.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
Oh, you are. You're just razzing me. Okay, thanks. All right, I appreciate it. Not much. But I will tell you, I am very excited to share this episode that we are.
Oh, I thought you were about to drop some secret news or something. God, that lead up was so mysterious.
No.
Okay.
No. Well,
this episode. Okay, yeah.
Just as exciting, which is this episode. And this week we have on Mr. Garrett Davis, the life of Bub.
Yes.
On Instagram.
You know what? I meant to ask him where that came from.
I know, because we already recorded this episode, and now we're doing the intro. I was thinking the same thing.
It didn't come up once, so
I was thinking as we were like, yeah. So spoiler alert, you're not going to find out why he's named Bub, but maybe we can get that answer and put it on Instagram or something. But anyway, we've known Bub for a couple years now. Got to hang out with him at JLC. I think maybe at another show, I forget. But just a really a great craftsman, really knows his stuff inside and out, does a whole bunch of different types of work, interior, exterior, decks, built a whole custom home for himself in Maine and then moved to Florida. So we'll be covering all of that. But just a really good dude, really authentic. And this conversation I loved because it just felt like a couple people talking about life, talking about just being real. And he's really an open book. He's been through a lot. And he's open about it. And I think that's kind of the theme of this episode is just craftsmanship, carpentry, building, and life.
Yeah.
Is that a good way to sum that up?
Beautiful.
Probably not.
Well, no. The people will listen and they can decide. But he's a testament to if you have a skill, you're going to be just fine, no matter what. So,
True.
It's a really interesting episode, and he's a really interesting guy, and he brings a lot of energy, which I liked. So,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Love some good energy. Love some good energy. So, yeah, I guess let's jump into the episode.
All right.
Are we rolling?
We're rolling.
We're on. We're here. What is going on? We have with us Garrett Davis, the life of Bub. Somebody I've known for, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years now?
At least, man. I don't know. I've been following you on Instagram for quite a while.
Same. And back then you were living in Maine. That's what I always knew you as a Mainer. And you seem to fit that role really well. I don't know. You just seem like somebody that would be from Maine, working in the cold, never seemed to bother you or anything, following you, watching you build decks in the winter, all that kind of stuff. And now you have moved to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Now you're in Florida. What's that like?
It's different, warmer. I've acclimated here. I've been here like almost 2 years, so I've acclimated, and now 50 seems really cold when like in Maine, if I got a 50-degree day in January, I'd be absolutely stoked, probably wearing shorts,
Yeah.
But it's a different like clientele level down here. It's an older demographic. Social media doesn't seem to help as much down here. So there's been a lot of changes for me on like a business end of things and personal end of things, because I still feel like most of my social media following is no one really from Florida. So it's not helping on the business end of things. But yeah, it's a different world down here. It's, but we're enjoying it. We really are. We like it a lot. It's brighter, like longer. So like in the wintertime, it's still like, it's like 6:30 now when it's getting dark out. Which in Maine, it was like dark at like 4 in the winter, which was super depressing. So I feel like mentally, like for my mental health, it's been very, very good for me down here.
Yeah. We're right in like the sad portion of the year where it gets dark so early. I didn't realize that it was different other places. I figured I figured it was warmer in the winter there in Florida, but I didn't realize that. I thought the sun goes down at the same time.
So this is going to sound super weird, but the sun is huge here. Like I can remember the first morning I was driving to work when I moved here and I saw a sunrise and I was like, can I swear? Is it bad if I swear?
Yeah, you can swear. I swear it'll be okay. Shit. So there you go. I just did it first. Go ahead.
I was like, holy fuck, that's huge. Like, and it's true. Like the sun is just bigger here. So like, in the wintertime, our shortest day, I think was like maybe 5:20 when it got dark, but we've already gained back like time and now it's like 6:30. So, literally a 2.5 hours difference. I was on the phone with my in-laws. We were on FaceTime with the kiddo the other night and it was 4 o'clock. We were out grilling, making dinner, and they were in the dark in Maine. And I'm like, wow, I don't miss that.
Yeah. Where exactly in Florida are you at?
I'm in Southwest Florida. I'm in Port Charlotte. So I'm like an hour and a half south of Tampa and an hour north of Naples.
Okay.
So it's,
I was just down there in Naples last, about a year ago. Marco Island, beautiful down there. Beautiful. My God, it's so nice in the winter.
No, it's tropical. It's quite tropical.
Yeah, it's really. I could definitely see how that would improve your mental health moving from Maine. And it's funny because I feel like Maine has like a very specific, like, you know, when you think of somebody from Maine, you think of like somebody very specific, and then I feel like Florida also has like the same thing. Like you're both ends of the spectrum. So what's it like working down there? You said, you know, it's an older demographic. Are you near like a lot of, you know, kind of like the retirement towns and like is that kind of a majority of the population down there is transplants, people that have gone there to retire? And what's that kind of like? And what's the difference that you've seen from the clientele that you were used to working for in Maine?
So a lot of the people that I'm working for down here, this isn't even their full resident. You know what I mean? This is like their second or third or fourth home.
Yeah.
So like the client contractor relationship is a little different because sometimes I'm working on people's homes and I don't ever even meet them. Like we meet virtually and they give me access to their house and I do a good job. And so that's been weird. Like we're doing a job out on Boca Grande right now. And this is the guy's fourth house. So he's from Canada. He comes down here for like 4 months. Then he's got a place in Montreal. And then he's got another place in Quebec. And then like he's got 4 houses. So like a lot of the people are retired for sure. And this is not where they live all the time. Yeah. So that's been way different for me.
For sure. I'm sure that's like got to be on one hand, like really nice to be like the client's not there up in your business, but at the same time, like there's not as much feedback. Like I hope that they like what I'm doing here. Like nobody's here to like see what you're doing and give you like feedback. Like, oh, looks great. You're just like at the end. All right. Well, I hope you like it, you know?
Yeah.
That's gotta be kind of interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah, no, but it's, you know, we've kind of been blessed. No, I don't want to say blessed, but you know, hurricanes suck. I won't wish them upon anybody, but we had 2 huge ones back to back that just laid waste to this area. So it's like there is not enough contractors around, especially good ones, to do all the work that we have here right now. So we've been blessed of getting out on a place like Boca Grande, which is a very neat, tight-knit community. It's where super rich people are. It is like, it's just zeros to them. And it's been nice. I mean, honestly, like there's contractors in the area that have never been out on Boca and will never go on Boca. I've only been here a year and a half and I'm working out there. So I'm like honored to be out there. It's a beautiful spot. The homes are beautiful. And the customers, you know, this guy, Steve, that we're doing a job for right now, he's there living in his house while we remodel the whole exterior and the downstairs. And he's just great. So that's been like my first, I feel like my first client relationship that I finally had since I've been here. And it's on a kick-ass project. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. There's definitely like places like that. I'm sure there's a ton of them in Florida where it's like this, like, you know, island commute, like, you know, development that's somewhere that like once you get in there, like, you know, it's so word of mouth, like everyone just passes it along. There's towns around us where it's like a contractor will never leave that one town and there's so much work and like you just get in with one community, especially like a more well-to-do one, and you're like, you are set, you're good, you are like the go-to person in that town and you don't have to like drive very far, like you're right there. So that's an awesome place to be. So hopefully this one works out for you and you're just like the dude down there.
Yeah, no, I hope, dude. And it's like 15 minutes from my house, which is awesome because a lot of our jobs, I mean, I was used to it in Maine. You know, it was never crazy to have to drive an hour and a half to a job site in Maine, but down here with traffic, so like that's been huge because there was not traffic in Maine that didn't exist. Maybe a little bit in the summer when tourist season was happening. But like, you know, 8 months out of the year down here, everybody's coming to Florida because they're in a cold state. Yeah. So like right now, to go like 5 miles could take you a half an hour, and like in Maine, like to go 5 miles, it took me 3 minutes. So that's been weird, but I hope to stay out on Boca. We're doing a good job for this guy. He really likes us, and like you said, it's, you know, word of mouth out there. They go have a party at the clubhouse and, oh, who did your house? And then they mention our name. And then it's like, oh, now next thing you know, because it's crazy, man, what happened out there. I've seen nor'easters, I've seen snowstorms, but a hurricane with 5-foot storm surges and like 12-foot waves crashing into people's homes and ripping drywall off 10-foot ceilings. I mean, it was nuts.
That's crazy.
That's
you know, it's good that, like, you know, there are contractors down there to like help rebuild, but you probably have so much like not competition, but like there's probably a lot of people that aren't doing a great job that like, you know, kind of chase after these storms and are like in there just trying to, like, you know, probably not even from the area, getting in, getting out, and probably not doing a great job. So I'm sure like you getting in there, doing a really good job for somebody, like that's the thing that's going to lead to the next job. Because I'm sure everybody is very leery of like these outsiders or even local people that just come in and like see it as a quick buck. Like, okay, these people really need this work done. They're kind of desperate. Like the house is all messed up. You know, there's probably a lot of people that are kind of taking advantage of the situation. So, you know, by not doing that, I'm sure that's going to just lead to, you know, a ton of work for you.
Yeah, dude, storm chasers are a real thing. It happens. Like as soon as these hurricanes hit, you saw license already down in Florida. You see license plates kind of from all over, but like they increased drastically after the storm. And you're like, all right, pickup truck with a Texas license plate. Wonder what that guy's doing here, you know?
Yep.
So, and you have to be licensed in Florida, but that doesn't mean that people don't hire unlicensed contractors. There's handymen that think they can do things that they shouldn't be doing, and you know that's the thing is like you can press having a license, but that doesn't mean everybody breaks rules, right? So it doesn't keep out the hacks. Like a lot of people on Instagram will be like, oh, it must be so much better down there. There must not be so many hacks because you have to be licensed. I'm like, no, they're still here, dude. Just doing it illegally now, you know, it happens.
I mean, it's, you know, that's like, oh, what's a license? Like, if you're not going to get a license, then that's not going to it's not going to stop you from doing anything. And in New Jersey, you have to be licensed, but it's literally just a proof of insurance and like a $90 a year fee. Like that's it.
Oh, wow.
So it's like you just sign up and you're like, I'm a contractor, licensed contractor, and you can do everything from literally the only things that you need, like still like a legit like real license where you have to put in hours, take a test, is like plumbing and electric. Building, you can build an entire house with just proving that you have insurance and paying $90 a year, and you're licensed and you're good. So that's not like a good, firewall for keeping out hacks. It's just, oh, all right, we screwed over a bunch of people, so now we'll start up a new company and
right. That's how it was in Maine.
again.
No license in Maine was needed. All you needed was insurance, and most guys didn't even have that.
Yeah.
But it's like, you could build a chicken coop, and the next thing you know, you're building a $2 million house and have no idea what you're doing. It's like, that's cool, Yeah, it's pretty wild. So
what led to, because I think before you left Maine, you were like very recently finished building your own home. Is that right? Like it was pretty quick timeline. Like I remember, like one of the last things you did on it was build the deck on it, and you were working on it for kind of a long time. And I feel like it wasn't that long before, like between you putting all the finishing touches on your house to then putting it up for sale and moving to Florida. Like what was that? How did you go from, all right, we're going to build a custom house for ourselves here, to now we're going to sell it, we're going to move to Florida?
So yeah, I started building our house in 2020.
Okay.
Right around COVID times, because prices were astronomical. I remember paying the most I've ever paid for Huberwood Advantech in my life. So yeah, did that, forever home, right? Yeah, bought the land right on the private pond out in the woods in Maine. Yeah, gold, right? And then, I got an opportunity from my brother-in-law, and my sister have been here for 7 years, I think now. And my dad's been here like 10, so he lives right around the corner from me. And we came down here for a vacation in like February, like a little while after Weston was born. It was our first like getaway from being freshly new parents. And we came down, and my brother-in-law just threw out a job opportunity to start a business with him. And it sounded nice. Weighed out the pros and cons. Still have the pen that we bought in the airport when we were doing our list of pros and cons in the airport after we left. And I was like, well, let's see what we could get for our house. I had about $360,000 into building our house. That was including help from brands like that I had done business with for a long time. Everybody tried to pitch in on that, like AZEK and Huber Woods and Windsor One. Like a bunch of people helped me on that to help me cut costs and build a nice house. And we got it appraised, and we were like, holy shit.
In a good way or a bad way?
A very good way.
Oh, okay.
I'm up front, and I don't hide stuff, but I built it for $360,000, and we ended up listing it for $882,000.
Oh, all right. There's a come up. Okay.
So we had a bidding war on it, and we ended up getting over what we had it on the market for cash. And our mortgage was tiny on it because we kind of strategically played it out, and we made a fuck ton of money on it.
There you go.
That's nice.
So opportunity and probably a little bit of greed in there too. Like, wow, I could just like sell this and build a new house. Like, even if we weren't going to leave the state of Maine, the amount of money that I'm going to make on this house, it's like stupid not to sell it. Right. So yeah, we put together the plan with my brother-in-law, and we sold our house, and everybody thought we were absolutely crazy. A, for selling our house that I just built and worked my ass off on. B, for saying that we're never going to get that for it. And then we got over asking, and then we packed up and moved to Florida. And rough year though,
What year was this? This was what, 23?
23, yeah. We moved down here June of 23.
Okay.
We had a pile of money in the bank. The market was not great down here. There wasn't a lot on the market. when we got here. So we kind of just ended up not buying we were going to buy a used house and remodel it. And then I'm like, I really don't want to live in a remodel. So we ended up buying a new construction home they're like dirt cheap down here. It's crazy what they get for homes down here.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, sorry to jump around, but yeah, that's kind of what happened is we saw the price tag of our house and the opportunity to try something new. I've kind of been sick of winter for a long time. You know, it's just cold, it's depressing. And I wanted to try something new. I've always felt like I was in the wrong state. I'm like, I want to be somewhere where it's warm all the time. I want to be surrounded by palm trees. I want to work on the beaches. And this was my opportunity. So we just took it while we had the chance. And we struck when the iron was hot, man. I mean, the market was still good in Maine, and we absolutely crushed it on our house.
That's amazing. Cause I just moved just a little over a year ago, and what we got for our last house was like, it was crazy to me. We bought it for 110, ended up selling it for 300. And, you know, that was like 10 years later, but you're also like, the market's really high, but then you need to buy another house and we're not moving that far away. So it's like, you know, when the market's up like crazy, yeah, you're going to get a lot more than like maybe the house is worth. But if you're moving like in the same market, you're going to pay more for the next house that you buy, where you're like, you sold it and took that money and then moved to a state where everything was a lot cheaper and just like really crushed it. And the most amazing thing, I think, is the fact that like usually when you build your own house, especially like a carpenter, a builder builds their own house, usually they like so overbuild it and everything's so nice that like you don't get that crazy resale value. You know what I mean? Like you could build a spec home where it's like you're just getting everything as cheap as possible, and like, you know, that's where you maximize your profit. But you did everything like super nice. Like I remember the deck that you built on. It was like, you know, it was super unique, like all out. And the fact that you were able to like get that much out of it is just awesome. I mean, like it definitely attracted a higher end clientele to the house that you built because it was so nice. And I just feel like you don't hear that as much. You know, usually it's like the way to make the most money on you know, building and selling a house is to just build everything as cheap as possible, make it as big as possible, and like, you know, throw some subway tile up on the, you know, do a couple trendy things here and there, but the house is crap. And I think it's cool that you went way above and beyond and built this awesome house, and you reap the benefits from it, like big time. Big time.
I remember.
Speaking of which, can I borrow some money?
No,
a couple bucks.
We have to keep going. The story gets better.
Okay.
No, but I do remember my father was like, when I was building that, he was like, how much are you fucking spending on kitchen cabinets? Are you insane? Like, what are you, crazy? And I was like, dude, it's our forever home, you know? You're never gonna reap the benefits of that. And then when I sold it for that, he was like, holy shit, man. He's like, you lucked out. He's like, you hit about 3 home runs in your lifetime and you just got your first one. I was like, yeah. So that's
amazing.
Loving Florida. Came down, advanced home contract. So my brother-in-law, he's got his window and door business. He's got an electrical business. He's a licensed contractor in Florida. So to get me down here, you're allowed to work under someone's license. So I was a partner, we'll put in air quotations, to my brother-in-law coming here. And it was great for a while, you know? And then it just wasn't, I don't know if either of you have ever worked with family. But
yeah, not for long, but yeah.
I have, and it never ends well, but yet here I am packing up my life to do it again. And it didn't end bad, but it didn't end great. So yeah, I was with my brother-in-law for about a year, and we were not busy. So, you know, you get a pile of money and you're like, I am set for life. Like, this is life-changing money. But then you have to move. We sold our house with a lot of our furnishing because we were like, oh, less stuff we have to bring. So like you have to move, and then you have to buy another house, and then you have to furnish that house, and then you have to put a pool in that house. You have to have a pool in Florida, so you have to put a pool in, and then you have to put a fence around because you have two big dogs that can't run through the neighborhoods of Florida. So money goes fast, and when you don't have work and you don't invest the money properly, which I did not, it goes super quick. So 2023 was quite slow for work, and then 2024 was pretty slow too. And my brother-in-law was just kind of over it. He's never been a big residential guy. I didn't feel like I really had a business partner. I felt like I was just working for myself and splitting money with somebody. And we were getting to a point where we were going to start butting heads, and I have a really close relationship with my sister, and I didn't want to soil that. I'm not going to start bad-mouthing him because I think he's a great guy. He's got a big heart. I think it just wasn't working, and we both saw that, and there had to be a change. And then 2 hurricanes hit. I got another partnership offer, and I took that. So now Underwood and Davis is our new company. It's got my name in it. We're a 50-50 partner. We have a legally binding document that makes us a partnership. We have an LLC. We're very legit, which I was never with my brother-in-law. So a word of advice to anybody that ever wants to get into a partnership: make it legal, make it happen. I did not do that. It was a handshake, and it kind of screwed me. And we were like broke like 2 months ago, dude.
Well, when you move somewhere and like you need all new furniture, plus you just got all this money, it's like, well, we might as well buy the nice couch, like the really nice one. We might as well get the little waterfall in the pool, all that kind of stuff. Like, why the hell not?
And then I just paid off my truck, and then a month later, I'm like, I really want a new truck, so I bought another one when I already had a new truck, but I had to buy another one, and I had to jack it up to make it look like a Florida truck. So I was totally stupid with, we were not very smart with the money. That's just plain and simple. And, but we do have a nice house. But it's not cheaper to live in Florida. So anyone who thinks it is, it's not. You have insurances. Insurance is absolutely insane down here. And then you have to have flood insurance on top of your home insurance. So I spend about $10,000 a year on insurance to live in my house.
Wow.
And it's just, dude, when it was like a high. So like, we'll get into that, but I'm an addict. So I love like highs. And I feed off those, and I'm very impulsive, and I'm very vulnerable at the same time, if that makes any sense. So I get an idea in my head, and it's like, I gotta do it. And that's what we did coming here, and we just pissed through the fucking money. And about 2 months ago, it was not looking good. I was ending this with my brother-in-law. I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do? Am I gonna have to move back to Maine? And then Helene and Milton hit, and an opportunity, like, thank God, happened. And we're doing a lot better right now, but it was scary, man. Like, and people don't talk about this stuff, like saw the highlights on social media, and everybody's like, oh, Garrett got another truck, must be doing good. It's like, no, dude, I was scared of how, like, my wife's not working anymore. I'm the sole provider now. Like, I was scared shitless. I was stressed. I had no idea how I was going to feed my son. Like, it was really bad. Like, it was scary, dude. So we went from like having like $700,000 to nothing in like a year. But hey, I got a new business, and things are looking better right now.
I think it sounds like you just need like a target in front of you to like that comfort level that comes with 700,000 in the bank is like, you need that motivation. Like I'm on record saying like, I do not want to win the lottery because like, I don't know what I would do with, I always say I would turn to drugs probably. That's like my thing that I always say because
no, don't do it.
Well, yeah, I've heard it's not good. We will get into that. But like, I need something to like make me like go to work. Like I need a purpose to like go to work to, if I didn't have that, I just feel like my life would just like fall apart. I don't know. I don't know what I would do without like that need to like work and make money and provide. Like, I don't know. I feel like I need that, and I feel like it's essential to me. So maybe you need that too. And you were like, you knew that money sitting there was actually just sabotaging you. So don't even worry about it. You're fine. You're better off.
Oh, well, some good did come out of it. I mean, we paid off some debts we had, like Megan's student loan debts and stuff. So like some good did come out of it to make our bills a little more manageable. But I'm like I mean, everybody is, right? We're in the United States of America. We're all materialistic people. We all love shit. Like, and I'm really bad with that. So like, you know, I had a 2022 AT4 and it was a beautiful truck, but I'm like, the 24 looks pretty nice. Like, you know, like, so that, and instead of like really thinking it through, like, do I really need, like, I have a nice truck. Like, I just, boom, you know, like,
got it.
They're like, we'll give you $75,000 for your truck. I'm like, done. Here's $50 grand and give it to me. Like, you know, so, yeah, it was a hell of a journey, but we do really enjoy it. Like, I don't have regrets of moving here. I think that, failures make you a better person through life. You have to fail. If you're not failing, then you're never going to really learn anything. So, it was a learning curve, and here I am.
For sure. I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I know like one of your big things in your life now, and you know you have the Skilled and Sober podcast, is your sobriety. And I know you've you know, I've heard on some other podcasts that you've been on, kind of the whole backstory of, you know, getting into addiction and everything like that, and then coming out on the other side. And I think it's really interesting how you just put it, like, you know, you had this addiction, but you still have like those same personality traits that led into your addiction in one thing. And like, you know, you still really thrive on these, maybe not thrive, but you know, these highs and lows of, you know, just in different ways you can still experience that. So, you know, just touch on like what that's been like for your life to go through that, come out on the other side. I know you're really big into like being available for people that might want to take that first step towards sobriety, and especially in the trades, like it's, you know, it's great to like have like somebody can see that, you know what I mean, and somebody can reach out to you. And there's a couple people on social that it seems like they have a really big impact on some people. And you know, so just talk a little bit about what that's been like, and kind of where you're at with that journey right now.
Yeah, I mean, I started drinking when I was 12, so I mean, I'm not going to make a huge story out of it, but yeah, both my parents are recovering alcoholics. So my mom's like 27 years sober. My dad's right behind me. My dad got sober actually when I was in rehab. So, yeah, so we're like right there together in the journey. Yeah, started drinking at 12, and you know, it's the trades, man. Like I got into the trades, you know, in my early teens, and worked around my uncle, who was a party animal. Everybody he worked for was a party animal. It was just normal, and it's still quite normalized in the trades. But I come to find out, like once I got sober and announced it on social media, there's a lot of sober people that are in the trades. So yeah, it's been a little over 7 years since I had a drink or a drug. Literally zero. And it's been a year today that I haven't had a cigarette. Woo!
Really? Nice. Yeah. Congratulations.
I still suck on this every once in a while, but come on, man.
That's all right. Like, you gotta, yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah. No, when my mom had a stroke last January, I was like, I'm done. It wasn't because of smoking while she had a stroke, but I was like, yeah, I just don't need to do something that's gonna, you know, not help my life. So, but yeah, no. So 7 years, and you know, you just got to work at it. And it's funny. I was talking to Kevin, you know, Raven Builders. We talked quite a bit. He's become a good friend of mine through social media. I had him on the podcast. He works this pretty solid program. So sometimes when I need a ass kicking, I reach out to him. It's just, dude, it's tough some days. Like I had a vice for 20 years that helped me get out of reality. basically, because I didn't like reality and I wanted to escape everything. Like, if I didn't want to face something, I just got fucked up, and that's how I dealt with it. And then when it was still there, I would just get even more fucked up. And I did that for a really long time. So like the hardest part for me in sobriety is like dealing with life. Like when this shit just happened not that long ago and we were broke, like I can truly say that the thought of a drink never came into my brain, but like it's tough to still deal with reality in a different way that I'm still not used to. Like even 7 years in, man, I'm a work in progress. So
Yeah.
I like talking about it because when people reach out to me, you know, maybe just saying, "Hey, man, I really like what you're doing," or "Hey, I have a problem. Like, what do you think?" Like, it helps me get outside of myself because I'm super selfish and self-absorbed because I'm an alcoholic and that's what we are. And the more I can get out of myself and help other people, that actually helps me way more than me, like, you know, basically just sitting in my own shit. And so that's kind of where I went with the Skilled and Sober podcast is like, I found out there's a lot of tradespeople that are sober, and one way, because I don't make, you know, I go to AA meetings and stuff, but I can't make a ton. I have a family. I get to see my son maybe 15 hours a week. So on the weekends, I want to spend time with my family. So that's kind of a way for me to keep myself in check and keep the person that's coming on the podcast with me in check, and then put that out to however many people. We don't have a ton of listeners, but 300, 5,000, like whatever episode it may be. I know that I'm doing a part in my sobriety because that's what it's all about. It's all about giving it back. So it's like, that's kind of my way to give back to and help people the best I can.
Did you have, oh, go ahead.
No. What's up?
Did you have like somebody that you kind of went to? Like, what was that moment that, you know, you realized, hey, this is out of control. I'm gonna, you know, I don't know. Did you go to rehab? Was there somebody there for you that like had been through it that you, you know, now that like you're that person to other people, or was it just like, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to go to rehab and, you know?
Yeah, no, I had my mom, you know, she was like, 20 years sober. I was going down a dark path, man. I mean, I loved drinking, but I also loved cocaine. So, when I say I loved it, I loved it. Like, not many people that do cocaine don't love it. It's like you don't really. It's a love-hate thing because I would hate it the next day, but then I would love it again, you know, in a couple hours. So I was, I had just started my business. For a long time, I was like a weekend warrior. Like I drank all week, no doubt. But on the weekends, I would, you know, get a bag or two of Coke, and that was my thing. And then I started my business in 2016. I finally went off on my own. And that's when I went crazy because I was on my own schedule now. I was on my own job sites. I could leave when I wanted to. I didn't have to ask people to take vacations. It was like a whole new world to me. And I was making pretty good money, but I was a drug addict and I was snorting everything I made. And I got to a real dark place. I overdosed in like October of 2017, a couple of months before actually a month before I got sober, which still didn't stop me. I collapsed in a parking lot. I think my heart was giving out. And the next day I was right, you know, I survived that. I guess I'm all right. And I was right back to doing what I was doing. But I'm not going to go into like amounts, but I was doing a tremendous amount of cocaine throughout the week on my job site. So I'm like building decks, I'm high on cocaine, and I'm drinking beers out of my truck this is my first year in business, mind you. If anybody that was following me back in October, actually the whole year of 2017 when I started my business, people will tell me like, dude, I remember you were an animal. They were like, we would see like beer cans in the backdrop on your stories. Like I was doing a deck job for a guy, and every day, it was in the summer, and every day he would leave me a case of beer in a cooler. He was an alcoholic too, so he thought it was awesome that I liked to drink on his job. So he would leave me a case of beer, and I would show up in the morning and start drinking the beer, and then by like, you know, noon, I'm like, all right, need to go get high. So then I would go get a bag of Coke, and then I would come back, like, and I was Instagramming. Like, I wasn't snorting lines on Instagram by any stretch, but like, I was messed up, dude. Like, and yeah, dark place. I was sick and tired of lying. I was lying to my wife. My wife didn't know that I had a drug problem. She knew I had a drinking problem, but she did not know I hid my cocaine problem. We didn't have kids then. We only had a dog, so I could just like be like, I'm working late tonight, sweetie. And then she would be, in bed when I got home and my eyes were bugging out of my skull. And that went on for like a solid year. I hid it from her. And then she was catching on to it. All my family was super worried about me. I had lost a ton of weight. And I just had to give up. I was like, I can't do this anymore or else I'm going to die probably. Yeah. And I came clean. And then my mom literally brought me to rehab the next day. And that was November 15th, 2017.
Wow. Congrats, man. That's awesome. Yeah. 7 years. That's amazing. That amazing. And that was like, you were like a one and done. Just
so done. Far.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Because it is so prevalent in the trades. Like, like you hear, like drinking beers out of a cooler on the job. Like I know at least a handful of people that work like that. And it's like, other people in the trades are like, you almost like laugh it off. Like, oh yeah. Like, somebody's got to pick up Ricky because, he's drunk already. And right. It's like, it's something that like, I don't want to say it's normal, but it's like, it's not a foreign concept. Like,
no,
it can easily be sort of encouraged or enabled just because, like I'm thinking of somebody, Catherine, you're thinking of the same person probably.
Yep.
that does roofing. That like
roofing of all things.
Yeah. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? And man, he can put down some shingles,
Yeah.
as long as he's got beer and whatever else. And it's like, it's something that I think it's important that people in the trades that have been through it, like, can be this example for other people that might start to think like, okay, I'm not 21 anymore, but I'm still in that party phase. Like maybe I do have a problem here, and just like starting to explore that and seeing people that have been through it and can be like, like a beacon of hope. Like you're on the other side. And I think that's awesome and it's important. And I just, I just think it's really cool that obviously you're out on the other side of this and that, you're being an example for other people. And, you've probably changed a lot of people's lives just by making that first step or, even giving them some awareness that they have an issue.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, it's just like, you'll never find a tradesperson that hasn't got sober where their like skill set just like totally escalates to. I mean, going back to like Kevin, like look at this shit that he's building and like a bunch of other guys that I know that are sober. And it's just like totally impressive. Like when I was drinking and I still was a good carpenter, but I just didn't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got to like experience very quickly like what sobriety did for me and how it like helped me hone in on my craft and showed me that I was good with people and knew how to run a business. And I'm super grateful for that. And I can handle stuff today that I used to not be able to handle without getting super angry or outlashing or hurting other people in the midst of it. Cause I was just a tornado,
yeah.
And I don't bring people into my path anymore. I try to always have a solution for my problems instead of dwelling on my problems, which is what I have to work at all the time. All the time. Like again, I know I keep going back to it, but it's like social media is so highlighted. Like everybody's like, man, you just look at everything so great. And life is just so good. I'm like, yeah, cause that's like what I'm showing you. But I do try to like, the life of Bub, like I feel like more than other people, maybe I do try to always show my failures. Like I talk about it, like, because we all fail. Like we all get stressed out. We all have money problems. We all have a bad client. We all go through this. And obviously, if you're posting just for your business, you're not going to show that shit. But my page is my life. It's my business. It's my family. It's my dogs. It's my sobriety. So I'm not scared to talk about it. You know, because I know it's going to help somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
Because life is not all peaches and ice cream.
Not all the time. Sometimes it is, and that's great. Not together though. I'm not like big on fruit in my ice cream.
No, me either.
Yeah. I'll take peaches on one side and ice cream totally separate for me. But yeah, I lost my train of thought thinking about the ice cream here.
Now you're thinking about fruit in your ice cream, dude.
Yeah, it really got me. It's got me totally thrown off. What are some, you know, you mentioned like one of the hardest things is like you were dealing with your issues in that destructive way, and now you're on the other side of it, but you still have issues like everybody does. Things come up in your life. What are some ways that, you know, you probably have to be super mindful of how you're going to, you know, just work through tough emotions or a tough day? Like, what are some ways that you've been able to, like, you know, bring in new coping skills, or, you know, is there anything that you have found that's really helpful to get through whatever's going on?
A big bowl of ice cream.
Oh, the best medicine. It's the best medicine. It works for everything.
Dude, I mean, really, there's like the biggest one for me is talk about it. Like, cause I didn't talk about things. I buried it inside, and then I would explode. So like the biggest thing for me is just talking about it. Like I've been struggling a little bit lately. There's a lot going on, and I just have to talk to other people, like-minded people, or, you know, and my wife. Like, got to talk to my wife. Can't. But like, that's the biggest thing is like reach out to a sober brother of mine and be like, dude, this is what I'm going through. And then that person's most likely going to be like, oh yeah, like I went through that, or I'm going through it too. And then you just talk it out. Like, not enough people talk about things, man, especially men. Like, we're just like, whoa, so like, fuck, grown men don't cry. It's like, screw that, dude. I love crying. Friggin' get those emotions out. Like, let it go. Just friggin' talk about it. Shed some tears. It's okay. Like,
for sure.
But that's the biggest thing for me is I have to talk about things, because then I can then I hear, because like we all think in our heads, we all have the inner voices and we're talking to ourselves in our minds, but then you actually hear it come out of your mouth to somebody, and sometimes you're like, wow, that is so fucking stupid. Or like you're like, oh wow, no, it's okay to feel that way, and then the person will, you know, be like, yeah, no, it's okay to feel that way. Like, I was going through that too. Like, that's huge for me. Like, I've been struggling, and last night I was like, you know, Megan was like, what's wrong? And I started to talk about it. And then as I was talking about it, I'm like, what am I bitching about right now? Like, life really isn't that bad. Like, it's going to be all right, you know? So
that's definitely something that I've struggled with, is like just bottling things up and like just stuffing it deep down and not even knowing that, like, you know, you're subconsciously doing it. You're not like, oh, let me just stuff this down. You just, you know, do that over time. And for me, it didn't lead to addiction. It led to, I started having horrible panic attacks, and like I had to like learn how to like decipher what's going on in my mind and my body. Cause I was just kind of subconsciously just like, whatever, just stuff it down. I don't like to talk about stuff. You know, and when you're kind of forced to, so like I started to see a therapist at that time. And like, when you're just forced to like put words to things, cause it's like a feeling that you have that you can't really, you know, I wasn't even understanding my own like emotions or feelings. And then when you start talking about it, it's like you start to make sense of it yourself and like kind of sift through it. So it is super important. And luckily my wife is a therapist. So like she is like so in tune with her emotions. It's like insane, where I'm just like, I don't know anything. Like I don't cry. I'm just like I'm emotionally stunted or something. So like she can give me like tips to like, you know, you need to talk about it, like say something. And I'm just like, I don't know, but it is really important to just like let these things out, talk with somebody. Cause I think one of the worst things that can happen is just feeling like you're alone. You know, I'm sure in addiction, that's like, a huge catalyst to just do more. You feel alone and there's nobody to like, stop you or just share that feeling that you're having, and maybe that helps dissipate it. So yeah, more men should talk about their feelings more.
Dude, it's really hard to put words to emotions, like you just said, though. Like, it's so hard. Like, you have to talk it out, then you'll understand it more. Like, I'm the same way, man, for a long time. Bury it in, don't talk about it, no emotions, don't cry. But now I'm like, fuck that, cry, man, just let it go.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Catherine, what do you think about that, bro?
Yeah, I can relate a lot
right?
to the men stuff.
Yeah.
No, I love it though. I do think men need to cry more often and talk about things more. So you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah,
I loved when you guys did the like ask us a question or whatever, and someone's like, "Why are you always in such a good mood or something?" And you like looked at Catherine and she was like, I was like, yeah.
Yep. I'm usually in like a good no. I'm usually high energy. I'll say that. So like even when like and I won't usually like recognize it right away that like I'm super stressed out, but it's always at the end of a job I like start to get stressed out, and like a new job, like you're starting to like cross that bridge of like the final details on one job, starting to prepare for the next job. I always get so stressed out, and like I'll just be like snappy and I'll be like, I don't know, just let's do this. I don't know what's going on today. What are you doing? And then she's like, all right, I get it. It's the end of a job. You're getting stressed out. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I guess I am. So it's good when somebody can kind of monitor from afar and like just put you in check. And because nobody's 100% all the time, and as much as I try to be, it's I get stressed out.
Dude, construction's stressful, man.
It is. It really is.
Especially doing huge projects like you're doing. I mean, it's friggin' stressful. It always is. Big projects are always stressful. Like, I love the small jobs sometimes just because it's like in and out and you're done. And it's like big ones are always so stressful. There's so many moving parts, and the end is always the worst because then you get the punch list, and then like the punch list, you're like, I'm almost done with it, and then you're like, nah, another punch list. It's never ending.
So I feel like we've barely talked about construction or building, which is great. I think this is the stuff that people need to hear and be thinking about. But let's go back to what you're working on now. You have started a new company, a new partnership. What are some of the things that you kind of had to keep in mind, because you went from working for yourself to kind of a partnership of sorts with your brother-in-law to now like a real like 100% legal documents involved partnership, but you just kind of exited one. So what were like the things that you were maybe more cautious of or looked out for to kind of set the stage for a good partnership moving forward?
You have to be on the same playing field. Like, you have to have the same vision. Mm-hmm. And you can't be the same person. Like, there has to be, I feel like one guy has to be good at something and the other guy has to be good at something. And that's like the perfect partnership. That's what I'm finding out, at least. Cause Adam is insane with numbers. He loves that shit. Like, he's a nerd with it. Like, he has our books going. He has it all dialed in his QuickBooks, so he knows we're all job caught. Like, he just loves it, and I've never been good with that. So that is like we just went over it today. We were pricing a job out. I went to his house, and he's like, "Dude, you got to see this." Like, he gets all horned up about it. He's like, and he was showing it to me, and I was like, "It's fucking impressive." Like, I'm like, "Wow!" Like, we literally know where every dime is right now, what our profits are. So like having a numbers guy, but also he is awesome at designing. He's good on programs. And then I'm good with customers, and he is, but I also know how to build shit. So like, he can be like, all right, we're going to do this. And I can be like, no, it's not going to work. Like, we need to do it this way. And like, it's like almost too perfect. Like, it's pretty crazy. Like how connected. So I would just say, like, you have to have the same vision, but it's okay if you guys aren't the same person. And it's okay if you have two things that you're better at than each other, because it's a good mesh of like the partnership. It's really just working out. Like, I'm on site with my tool belt, building shit, dealing with customers. He's in the office, crunching numbers, doing estimates. And it's working out really good.
That's awesome. Yeah. You definitely have to have, that complementary skill set. Obviously, personalities that mesh and, you can get along with the person and work with them is super important, but the skill set thing is definitely, super, super important. And even though, we don't have a partnership or anything, like Catherine and Ant are like the three of us together all complement each other's skill sets really well. And it's huge for me because like I'm absolutely not like a numbers person or an organization person or a productivity person or the list of things I'm not is so long. But I know this about myself. I don't always recognize it, but Catherine will always be right there to point it out. And most of the time she's right. And I need that, she has that complementary skill set where she's more like, this is what we planned out. This is what we decided on. We're going to stick to this. You're not changing your mind again. Like, this is what we decided on. And kind of like, we set up the strategy for the business kind of together. And then, she helps make sure that we kind of stick to what we planned out. And then with Ant, when he came along, it was really, I could focus on the thing that I think I'm best at, which is designing, and kind of go to him and say, all right, like, check this out. This is the idea. And then we talk it through together. He's going to be really leading the charge with it in the field. I'm going to be there still, but he's really going to be the one in charge. So we can kind of work through these things together, and it amplifies everything. Everyone's skill set works together, and it enables all of us to really leverage the things that we're good at and bring it all together. And so that's really cool that you found somebody like that. How long has it been now?
We started in October.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's still pretty fresh, but we're doing good, man. I mean, we signed on a couple of big contracts after the hurricane. I'm really trying to dive into more outdoor living as what you do, because there is zero custom deck builders down here. Like, none. It's nuts, dude. Like, the AZEC reps came out to that. We did a huge job in Siesta Key. And they were like, we just don't see this type of work here. Like, usually the guys throwing up decks are the framers and then or dock builders. So they're just like nailing fucking decking down. Like, nobody cares. Nobody understands expansion and contraction, which in Florida is definitely not as much as we have to deal with up north, like you do and what I did in Maine. Like, it's like hot and it's really hot. So it's like the material doesn't move as much, but, so I'm really trying to dive into that. We just had a huge mailer go out that AZEC helped me on with our company logo, QR code, call me, picture of the Siesta deck. It went out to like 5,000 homes, and we sent it to only houses that were $750,000 and up for like real estate. So I'm hoping that comes through and we get some work off of it, because that's, dude, you followed me for long enough. I love building decks. I do love building houses, but down in Florida, building decks is super fun. But it's weird because it's like the opposite. Like in Maine, it would be like decks all summer, like spring, summer, fall, and then I want to be inside in the winter. But down here, it's like, I don't want to be outside in the summer. It's too damn hot. And I want to be building decks from like October to like April, May.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a niche market that we can conquer here. Just from what people have said, including some of my suppliers that I deal with. So, it's actually cool. I got a lunch with, the OC Lumber guy, on Friday to talk with him for a little while about that product. And, just try to start conquering decks down here, man. I just love deck building. There's good money in it. It's very, it's something to walk away from. You're proud of. So that's kind of where, we're still doing the home renovations, obviously, because there's money in that. But I would really love to like focus a lot on outdoor living because I just feel like it's needed here.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, most houses are probably built on slab where you're at, I imagine.
Yeah.
Probably almost all of them, but definitely when you get to some of the more high end houses, you got the second story decks, you got, especially when it's on the water, then it's like,
Yep.
you got the dock right there, you got kind of all of that. So I definitely see there being a market for it, and you've got kind of the track record and portfolio to it might throw people off if like they go to your website like, yeah, Florida's premier deck builder, and you put like some of your Maine projects on there. It's like, what the hell why is there snow in this? What is going on?
Yeah.
But that's super cool. What would you say you're like most excited for, kind of individually to kind of level up and like expand on more like personal development like within the business? What's something that you're looking to improve in your kind of new role in this partnership? Is it to manage crews? Is it to, do you want to stay on the tools to a certain degree? What do you see the future looking like for you?
It's funny because I feel like I see it a lot. Like people are like, "Oh, if you're still wearing your tool belt in your 40s, and you're doing it wrong." But it's like, dude, I am only 37, and my sanity comes back into play when I have my tool belt on and I'm working with my hands. Like I'm still young. Like yeah, my body's jacked, and I destroyed it. I destroyed it skateboarding, and I had to go to the chiropractor once a month. But like that's why I wear an expensive tool belt to hopefully help me. But yeah, so I don't really see my, Adam's like that. He's like, oh, we got to get you off the tools, man. We got to get you off the tools. And I'm like, yeah, but like, that's where I'm happy. Like,
Yeah.
I do like selling the job and dealing with the customer, but I also like being the guy that sold the job and the one showing up on site and building the shit for you and talking to you through the whole project while I'm wearing my tool belt, building what I said I was going to build for you. Like, there's something special about that.
Yeah.
So I can't see myself really putting that down in the near future. I don't know. I don't really know, man. I guess I just want us to grow. Like that's been like the most difficult part for me was like, I worked my ass off in Maine to get where I got, and I gave it all away.
Yeah.
And moved here to start something and then give that all away. And now I'm starting again. So it's not really where I saw myself when I was 37. So I hope that my hopes for 2025 is that we just get big and kick ass. Like, but I never want to get too big. Like I want to be a contractor that says I'm going to show up when I'm going to show up and not push you off 3 months. Like I want to set a schedule for my jobs and stand by that. And when you get too big, like a lot of people are down here, building hundreds of houses a year, they have very pissed off clients and not a good reputation. And I want a good reputation. Like I would rather do 5 big jobs in a year than try to do 20 big jobs in a year. Cause I feel like the profit margins are probably the same and the stress is a lot less.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of where I see. I just want us to grow as a company, as a new company, and just keep doing what we're doing and be truthful and honest contractors, and hold value in our price and not rip people's faces off, because that's what a lot of people are doing, man. Like Boca prices, that's a thing. That's a name here. People call them Boca prices, and contractors go in and see this person and they try to take advantage of them. And Steve hired us because he's like, I thought your numbers were fair. And, we were there within 2 weeks of signing a contract, and 4 weeks in, he's got walls and stucco and trade rough-ins. And he's like, you guys are just doing exactly what you said. And that's what I want, man. I just want happy clients and do what I love every day. So.
Well, that's awesome. Congratulations on everything that you got going on. We'll definitely be following along on this latest journey that you're on, and we'll have to have you on again to give an update and share some more knowledge. But where can people? It's The Life of Bub on Instagram. That's probably the main spot for where people can reach out to you, especially if you're starting to think about some of the stuff that we were talking about, maybe getting your life in check and you need somebody to talk to, I'm going to be gracious enough to offer up Garrett to be your person to reach out to.
And now you have my number, so if you ever need to talk, buddy, just reach out.
Appreciate it. We need to do that. Us men. You got my number too. I'll just be like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know how to deal with emotions. I'm sorry. I'll listen.
Yeah. But, Life Above on Instagram and on TikTok, but I don't know if TikTok's going to be around much longer.
Yeah, it might not be around by the time this episode comes out. So that'll be, we'll see.
I did start a YouTube, by the way. Not doing much with it yet, but I did start one. Maybe one day.
Yeah. I love it. I would love to see some Life Above YouTube content, some long form stuff. So maybe that'll be in your future down there in Florida. But well, appreciate you coming on, man. It was awesome. I feel like we could obviously keep talking forever, but we'll have to have you on again. And I feel like I say this every time we have a guest on, but maybe Catherine will get some talking time, because we kind of hogged up the.
I know. I was
totally fine.
Yeah.
Great job. Totally fine.
Well, appreciate it, man, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yep.
Later.
Just stay on